Hi, let's talk about the connection between hydration, how much you drink, and gallstones. I mean, you can see that there's a connection. It's quite intuitive, but I really want to give you the professional answer here because there's a lot of hearsay. There's a lot of opinions out there. And this is a very important subject, the connection between how much you drink, whether or not, or how many, or how big your gallstones will be. Well, we better fix that one clearly. We have to actually make sure that we know the answer if we want to make sure that we are not suffering gallstones or bigger gallstones, or that we can prevent gallstones altogether. And this is one of the biggest factors, water. Now, what's the connection? I mean, gallstones are made from oily substances. You know, they don't mix too well with water. So what's the connection again? Well, let me give you a few examples that are not, gallstone related, but can explain the water related issue here. You know how they make crystals for computer chips, right? They grow them within a medium. You start with a certain grain and they dump it in a thick enough medium. It can't be too watered down, otherwise it won't grow. It needs thick enough medium to collect more and more of this crystal to get to the point where it's actually growing. A similar example, maybe one that you remember from kindergarten, is how you create candles in the classical version. I remember that in my kindergarten days, they used to take that wick and just, dunk it repeatedly in molten wax. Now, if the molten wax was nice and thick, then every time the wick came out of the wax, it had another layer, right? Until eventually it was a nice thick candle. Now, what happened if I watered down the wax? It would just come out wet. Nothing would accumulate, or at least very, very, very slowly. And in a similar way, whatever it is, that original grain in our liver or gallbladder that can eventually be formed into a gallstone, whether or not it forms depends on whether or not the liquids within the bile are thick or well diluted. If they're well diluted, they do their job as far as digesting fats and stuff. They don't grow stones. And if they're nice and sludgy, then stones grow very quickly. So yeah, definitely important to drink enough if you want to, stop your stones from growing even further or prevent new stones from forming. The question is, of course, how much is enough? And is coffee enough? And, there's so many questions. I would love to hear from you down below, what you know to be the proportions of how much is enough. And yeah, if you want to, address the coffee issue, it's only an elephant in the room, right? So tell me what you think. Tell me what you've learned so far about how much is enough drinking. And let's see if that next video I'm planning on how much should we drink was actually important, or if you already know the answer. I want to hear from you. Until the next one.